Hello, welcome back to CinemaBurger, where I bring you movie reviews from a different perspective. We're almost done with the 2020 movie catch-up, and today we're going to talk about the thriller movie Becky. Now, Becky stars Lulu Wilson, Kevin James, and Joel McHale. And Kevin James, for once, is doing a serious role. He plays an escaped convict. Now, I like when actors step outside their typecast, and Kevin James is, of course, known for comedies, so this time he tries a different genre. So let's see what happens in Becky. Now, Lulu Wilson stars as Becky. She's the daughter of Joel McHale. Now, her mother passed away, and the father has been dating somebody new, and the woman has a son as well, and they're going to get married. So, of course, Becky's not happy about that. Now, Kevin James is a convict in a prison, and he escapes. And apparently he hid some sort of money or something in this vacation home that Joel McHale owns. So that's how they will eventually interact. Now, Kevin James has a bald head and a beard, so he looks intimidating. He has Nazi tattoos on his forehead and like SS stuff. Now, there's another convict. His name is Apex, and he's played by Robert Milott. He's been in a lot of other movies as either giant characters or creatures. He's a very tall and muscular person. He's the main sidekick to Kevin James' character. So, setting up some backstory, Becky is upset, of course, that her brother's passed away, so is Joel McHale, but he's found someone new to date, and he's going to eventually marry her. They introduce Becky to the woman's son for the first time. He's 7 or 8 or so. Becky is 14 or 15. Now, Lulu Wilson has been in other movies like Conjuring and Ouija and things like that. Now, the movie does focus a lot on her as well as Kevin James. She's, of course, upset that the father's remarrying. Now, they have 2 dogs, and they have a tree house in the woods. She's in the tree house. And this is where Kevin James comes in. He pretends that his dog is missing because he sees a dog in the house. And then immediately he gets incredibly racist and talks about pure breeds and things because Joel McHale's fiance is black. So he gets incredibly racist, and then they tell Kevin James to leave, but of course he doesn't because he's looking for something he stashed in this house. Now, these performances are not bad by any means. Joel McHale is also doing a serious role. He's, of course, known for comedy. Both Joel McHale and Kevin James are doing a good job. It's just that this plot isn't very imaginative. But it's a decent watch. And unfortunately, like I said, you'll forget about this movie in a year. But while you're watching it, I think you'll enjoy it. Now, characters don't do anything stupid in this movie, really. There's a walkie-talkie system that Becky has, and Joel McHale has the other walkie. So Kevin James realizes that the daughter is hiding in the woods somewhere, and that they're they're short-range radios, so she can't be far. Kevin James catches Joel McHale in a couple of lies, and it's like I said, he's using logic. And honestly, Kevin James can be intimidating as a psychopath. I would like to see him in more roles like this. But of course, he's typecast in comedy. He has a new show on Netflix called where he's part of a pit crew for NASCAR people or whatever. But I want to see him do more psychological drama or something like that. Now, the character Apex doesn't hurt the fiance and the child, and he's ultimately the more sympathetic one. There's a couple of other henchmen that Kevin James has, but Becky or Lulu Wilson dispatches of them. She has art supplies and things in this treehouse, and some of the henchmen surround her. She uses bow and arrow to distract them kinda, and ends up stabbing one of the henchmen with a broken ruler, and it's very brutal, and you can really see the Becky character becoming very feral and unhinged. I mean, she's fighting for her life, of course. Now, the Joel McHale character dies. The fiance and the son or live, but throughout the movie you see Becky fight for her life more and more. Kevin James is getting more and more pissed off because he can't get what he wants. So basically, by the end of the movie, Becky becomes Rambo, and it's pretty awesome. Not gonna lie, the gore and effects are practical. Kevin James gets his comeuppance, and at the end of the movie, they allude to Becky like being messed up now because she had to kill a bunch of people. Now, I rented this movie on Amazon Prime. It was like $6, I think. I do recommend Becky. Like I said, the plot itself isn't very original, but it's nice to see some actors outside their typecast, like Joel McHale, Kevin James. Lulu Wilson does a great job as an angsty teen. I would rate Becky, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 burgers, because you probably won't remember this movie in a year or two, but while you're watching it, you'll enjoy it for what it is. Like, rent it for a cheap price, or if it's free on some streaming service. But yeah, check out Becky, something a little different in terms of the actors in it. Alright, I'm Scott Berger, and I'll see you next time.